Thank you for listening to Scandinavian Crimes Podcast. Be sure to check out the episode links and be part of our other social media platforms where you can leave a topic suggestion or even share some of your insights regarding the subject matter of the episode. We'll always do our best to provide a well-researched episode, but sometimes due to limited access, translation issues, and inconsistent evidence between multiple sources, there can be information that's lost. It is therefore good to do your own research and get a deeper understanding of a case of your own interest. So with that all said, let's start today's episode.
Welcome to Scandinavian Crimes. My name is Devante. Say hello to my lovely co-host, Delila.
Hi.
And on this podcast, we talk about famous Scandinavian criminals who made their mark throughout Scandinavian history. So welcome to another episode of the podcast. But today's a little special because, as you know, this is the Halloween special. So just to clarify for everyone, I'm so dead. Just to clarify for everyone, this is going to be, obviously this is out on Halloween, but this will count for Monday's episode. So we just decided to double release in the same week so we can be here for Halloween. And then this will count for next week, Monday. And then the episode after that will be the regular scheduled programming. And also, so before we cover this particular case, I'm just letting you guys know that this episode, the last episode, and the episode before that, we do have video format and videos for basically the discussion sessions that you can kind of go to the YouTube channel and watch if you want something a little bit more visual, between the both of us, if you want to kind of feel a little closer to the podcast. So that is available. So it'll be linked into the description of each and every episode for those specific videos that have episodes that have videos, so that way you can go check it out if you want to, and all that good stuff, all that jazz. All right, so now that we got that out the way, I hope you already are having a spooky Halloween, because this case takes place all the way in the remote East Fjords of Iceland. The nights in October are long, dark, and unforgiving. In 2007, climate researcher Eiríkur Bjarnason, hope I said that right, vanished without a trace. No one knows what happened that day. They don't know if there was an accident, attempted murder, or something far more stranger. His disappearance remains one of Iceland's most haunting cases. So, in the spirit of Halloween, if you just happen to be home, make sure you keep your candy real close. Make sure you lock your doors, close your windows, because this is the story of Eiríkur Bjarnason disappearance. In late October 2007, the East Fjords of Iceland were slipping into long, dark nights. Seyðisfjörður, a small coastal village nestled between steep cliffs and fjord waters, was quiet. This was where 36-year-old Eiríkur Bjarnason, a climate and wildlife researcher, had come to conduct his fieldwork. Eiríkur worked with the Icelandic Institute of National History, focusing on the impacts of climate change on coastal and marine wildlife. His research tracked how rising sea temperatures and shifting fish populations were altering the behavior of seals, seabirds, and Arctic foxes. On the morning of October 28th, Eiríkur left his cabin just as the first pale light of dawn struck the fjord. He intended to survey a seal colony that had been unusually active, congregating near the rocky shore and behaving aggressively. Seabirds circled overhead in chaotic patterns, while Arctic foxes were observed scavenging closer to human paths than usual, likely responding to the dwindling availability of prey. Eiríkur carefully documented everything, alongside notes about faint lights dancing over the fjord, likely auroras, yet their flickering quality unsettled him. Around mid-morning, he radioed the Institute with a preliminary observation. That was the last anyone had heard of him. Eiríkur was due to attend an emergency meeting with his colleagues the following day to discuss his latest findings, but he never appeared. This was entirely out of character. He was known for his punctuality and unwavering commitment to his work. Concerned, a colleague went to check on him, assuming he might be unwell or lost track of time. When the colleague arrived at Eiríkur's cabin, the boat was still tied to the dock, gently rocking with the tide. Inside the cabin showed signs of a disturbance, a chair overturned, a few books scattered across the floor. But Eiríkur himself was nowhere to be found. Alarmed, his colleague immediately called the police. When the police arrived, the scene offered more questions than answers. His small boat remained moored at the dock, as though awaiting for his return. Inside the cabin, nothing was outright destroyed, but the subtle signs of disorder unsettled investigators. A chair knocked sideways, several books on the floor, his research notebook lying open and sodden with rain. From the cabin, footprints led towards the cliffs before vanishing abruptly at the jagged outcrop. The final footprint appeared heavier, pressed deeper into the earth as if he had stumbled or been dragged. Blood was found near the cliffside, later confirmed to be his. The possibility of an accident was immediately considered. The cliffs in late October were treacherous. Wet stones slick with sea spray, fog rolling in at dusk, winds howling down the fjord. A misstep could easily mean death. But the bloodstains combined with the disorder in the cabin suggested there might have been more to the disappearance. Villagers soon came forward with testimony. A few recalled seeing Eiríkur days earlier in what appeared to be a heated argument with another man near the dock. The man was identified as a local fisherman known for his short temper and fondness of drink and was quickly brought in for questioning. Forensic teams later collected hair strands from Eiríkur's coat in the cabin that matched the fisherman's DNA, giving the case its first concrete lead. Pressed under interrogation, the fisherman admitted to the encounter. He confessed that he had been drunk at the time and could not recall the exact details of the argument. He believed it had been about a boat or fishing rights, trivial matters. But his frustration with Eiríkur went deeper than that. The fisherman explained that Eiríkur had always kept himself apart. In a village where customs of friendliness and mutual reliance were a way of life, his distance was seen as arrogance. What might have been a minor disagreement between two neighbors instead became heated, fueled by drink and the simmering perception that Eiríkur thought himself above the community. The fisherman swore he bore Eiríkur no lasting ill will and denied any involvement in his disappearance. The discovery of his DNA on the coat seemed incriminating. However, the fisherman's alibi held. He claimed he had been drinking heavily at a small bar near the harbor the night of the disappearance. Witnesses and limited security footage from the area confirmed his presence there for several hours, supporting his alibi. After days of questioning, he was released from custody. Though suspicion lingered, the police had no grounds to hold him. With that lead closed, investigators were forced back into uncertainty. To get further clarity, authorities attempted to construct the psychological profile of Eiríkur. He was a meticulous but solitary researcher, often vanishing into the East Fjords for weeks with only his notebooks and equipment. Colleagues described him as dedicated yet withdrawn. Locals said he kept entirely to himself. His extreme isolation and the bleak nature of his work, tracking environmental decline and erratic animal behavior, seemed to weigh on him. His journals, though scientifically precise, contained dark reflections of despair and hopelessness. Raised in an orphanage without close ties, Eiríkur's solitude left him vulnerable. The disarray in his cabin suggested turmoil, whether it be from a struggle or his own state of mind, was unclear. Particularly unsettling were his repeated mentions of strange, undefined lights. Investigators debated whether these were natural phenomena or stress-induced hallucinations. Experts suggested that Eiríkur's institutional upbringing and long isolation in the field likely led to social withdrawal symptoms of CPTSD, major depression, and wild schizoid traits. In the end, the profile depicted a brilliant but burdened man, likely suffering from depression worsened by isolation and professional pressure. Suicide could not be ruled out, yet the evidence remained ambiguous. Despite extensive searches off the cliff, sea caves, and fjord waters, no body was ever found or any remains, nor did any new evidence emerge. With no clear answers, police eventually ruled it a probable suicide. Yet within the investigation team themselves, doubt remained. Eirik's isolation and journal entries suggested deep anxiety and despair, but no evidence of suicidal intent. There were also too many loose ends: the blood on the cliffside, the signs of a struggle in the cabin, the unexplained lights, all leaving the sense that something remained unsolved. Eirik's disappearance soon became a haunting story woven into the lore of the East Fjords. Hikers spoke of faint colorless lights flickering above the water, seals gathering unnaturally close to the shore, and an eerie stillness along the cliffs where Eiríkur was last seen. Some believed he had fallen to the sea, others whispered of a murderer still at large. Among locals, old folklore resurfaced, tales of nature angered by human intrusion or omens of environmental collapse. His cryptic notes blurred the line between science and superstition, leaving the truth forever out of reach. To this day, the disappearance of Eiríkur Bjarnason remains one of Iceland's most unsettling mysteries in history.
Okay, so there obviously is a lot of theories of what could have happened to Eiríkur. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to say Icelandic names. I'm gonna be better. So obviously you guys know that in Iceland it's very common for disappearances to happen rather than murder. And because Iceland is most of the safest country in the world, not a lot of crime happened there.
Really?
So yeah, what do you mean really? I thought you knew. We also have
really?
3 cases because nothing happens.
I know, I'm just saying really,
Oh,
really.
okay, I thought you meant you were what? Revelation? Sorry. Okay. And it wouldn't be weird if it could have been an accident and he accidentally fell on the cliff and then just disappeared because unfortunate circumstances, water, prey, he anything could happen. However, I do think that the fisherman guy was released a little bit too early for my cup of tea. I feel like they could have continued on with that trail even though he was seen in the bar hours before or something.
Yeah, I mean, they had nothing to hold him on. Why would they hold him longer if they had nothing to hold him on? That's technically, depending on your
they were
local
blood
laws, it's against the law. But the thing is, the blood belonged to Eiríksson. So,
but
I mean, the fisherman was not really around, so they had no reason to hold him. So, I mean, they did what they could. You feel me?
No, I don't feel you. I feel timeline wise it's not matching.
All right, so what do you think the timeline is then?
So he disappeared somewhere between the day before, when he was talking to his colleagues through the radio thing,
Right.
and then he was not seen for maybe 24 hours before the other colleague was hey, let's just check on this person. Maybe it was a little bit less than 24 hours, but I just feel there's a lot of time to hide a body or throw a body away in the sea or whatever.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some food for thought then, okay? You have to also consider that they saw them during the day, right? He goes his separate ways. Then likely, because they did say they talked to witnesses, they probably did see that, okay, Eiríksson was around and also the fisherman was around doing other things. And now because it gets dark sooner, he was in the bar for several hours. They didn't say a couple. They said several hours.
I still feel like there's enough time for him to.
But also, I'm going to get to my next point. I got you right now.
Like,
so you have to consider as well that the area where they found the trail of blood and everything is hard to get to. You can't get to that location drunk, carrying another body. It takes way more work and effort.
Maybe he was just using the bar scene and being drunk as a like.
You can't use it as an alibi if you're actually drinking. That's the crazy part.
I'm just saying like maybe he was just like maybe he is not a drunk. Oh yeah, you know what? Why am I even trying this? Okay, never mind. You're right. I realized I was like
maybe he wasn't drinking at all. Maybe he was drinking water the entire time. No, I'm just saying like maybe he's very tolerant with alcohol because he's drinking so much. And then I realized that no, he's known to be a short-tempered drunk in the village. So I was just like, why am I even trying? I just felt like it's a bit fishy that conveniently be found. Oh. I know, but either way, other than that, I feel like it's a lot of like strange phenomenons and stuff, and I understand how this case ended up being very like supernatural in a sense, with the whole flickering of the light constantly mentioned, and they just assumed it was Eiríkur's like hallucination tendencies or whatever, but even other people and hikers have noticed the strange phenomenons, and maybe they're faking, maybe they're lying, or maybe it's actually based on truth, because it seemed like a lot of people noticed that as well. So it's a little bit like interestingly creepy in a way. I remember seeing this show, right? I forgot the name of the show. But I remember there was a show.
I feel like you never remember the names of anything.
I don't remember the name of anything. Sometimes I see stuff, watch stuff. I don't remember the names. There was this show, right? And they had this thing where it's like, I don't know if it was Call to the Night or Call to the Wind, where it's like this phenomena that some people have in Antarctica, for example, that at night sometimes like they feel driven to just walk into these like, it can be like an open, like, you know, because sometimes some of those oceans are frozen or lakes that are frozen or whatever the case may be. But sometimes at night, people will just be driven to just walk in the middle of the night, like in the middle of nowhere, to just walk. And they keep walking and then they go missing because they're just walking. Not skinwalkers, but I'm just saying like it's like a phenomenon basically.
Oh wait. Almost... like that movie with the runners who's like the one that came out recently, the one we watched.
What was that?
It was like with the flying alien ship gun thing and the kids that ran into the same.
You talking about weapons? No.
Yeah, there we go.
No, that was because of some dark magic. No. I'm talking about like legitimately. There was like this thing, a phenomenon. I don't know what it's called, but where people can literally feel this calling sensation, like as if something is compelling them to walk for miles and miles and miles into the cold night, and then often they go missing and never return. Now, obviously, the counter to that, right? But the counter to that is that the situation happens in Antarctica, which, you know, there's certain times of the year where it's like just pitch black, much like did I say Antarctica? I meant Alaska.
I think you said Arctic. I don't know how to say that. Yeah, so like
in those, I'll say in those Arctic areas, I'll just generalize it a little bit. But basically you'll feel this call and then you'll just go missing. Now, the counter to that, what I was about to say was, some people feel like that's just a side effect of the environment where you don't have access to the sun for long periods of time. Some people can be very sensitive to not having the sun when, especially those time of years when it gets dark really early, or they experience night for like a month or two, then they might experience this, which can cause them to have like those, how they described it in this story, this schizophrenic or schizo kind of reaction. Traits. Because they're not getting access to sunlight, and
isn't it like
that can mess up your body chemistry.
Isn't it the same thing like when you put somebody in a white room for like, is it the same kind of phenomenon where they can have a tendency of like going crazy and hallucination and isolation and all that combined?
Yeah, like basically if you put them in a room where it's like really bright white and then it never gets dark, it's constantly
but then you don't have any
bright.
like sensations at all. Like you don't get anything from that, but like,
yeah, like you just can't tell anything from the other. There's no, even your sleep can kind of, deregulate itself. So yeah, there's like a whole thing about even how those situations can mess with your mental health. So even though like they call it a supernatural phenomenon, because I'm pretty sure back in the day people didn't understand it, it's entirely possible that it could be a situation because it was getting dark for so long that maybe, and he was a researcher, so he wasn't natively from the area. He probably was not accustomed to it, and it's a possibility he could have just did something to himself in response. He did like
leave for weeks sometimes, or like he was out for days and just did his research because he was so consumed by it. But like there's nothing else really that indicates anything. But do you think do you lean more towards a suicide then, or do you feel like it could be a combination?
I think it could. I can't say if it's supernatural, but I feel like it's more one of those things. It's weird because it can happen, but it's also kind of unexplainable in a way. Because, when someone just goes missing, they never find a body. It's just like, well, where did they go?
Yeah.
So then it just leaves that question in your head, like, dang, they really went missing, and that we don't know if they're alive, and we never found a body, and they probably never will. So that's the crazy part.
That is kind of scary too, in a way.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to stay
found ever.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to stay in like Alaska, those Arctic areas, or anything like that. Iceland. It is refreshing though.
Like, in short bursts. A very beautiful, like imagery wise. I've never been there, but it looks like it's very
I feel like
beautiful.
In short bursts it's nice, but that lack of sunlight during certain times of year is it's a doozy. I can barely tolerate when it gets dark at 5 over here.
Honestly, that's like half the world is like that. So
I know, that's like
if you
horrible.
Don't live in the middle of the equator, then ekvatorn, I don't know how to say it in English, I'm sorry. If you don't live close to that, then you have to like deal with it. It's like sorry, I'm just being weird. But yeah, there's nothing else I want to add to this. If there's anything you want to add to this.
I'm good. Cops are useless, but and then again, they're useless in this situation.
Whoa, no, I don't think they're
useless in this situation. They're useless in this situation because there's nothing they can do.
Because you feel like it's supernatural.
I didn't mean it like that.
Do you believe in that? Do you really believe in that? That it was like
this case was this case supernatural?
No, I feel like, do you believe in the supernatural like that? Like,
I mean, yeah, I do think there are some things that can't be explained yet, that are beyond maybe our comprehension just yet, that can happen. Like, some things that just don't make sense. But if you ever come across a case where it's just like, I fully believe something supernatural happened here, you'll definitely get that passionate episode where I'm just like, But in this case, I don't know, it's tough to say. Something weird definitely happened, but I think it's just a matter of environment for me personally.
That's very interesting for you to say. Because all of this is completely made up. Everything is fictional. This is not a real case. I created everything by myself. The only thing that's real is the place, Iceland. That's pretty much the only thing. The rest is fictional. Trick or treat. Happy Halloween. Thank you for listening to this fake story. I'm sorry. Devante made me.
But bye. No, I didn't. Either way, we're leaving. Bye.
We're leaving. But happy Halloween and tricked you. So
it may seem like this is April Fool's, but happy Halloween.
Oh yeah, that's just right.
I hope you enjoyed. I say you make it seem like it's April Fool's or something like that.
I mean, close enough. I don't know.
It's Halloween. I hope you enjoyed the lovely, lovely story. Wanted to give you something that was not real and something that maybe not necessarily made you feel uncomfortable, but hopefully fit that Halloween vibe. But either way, enjoy your candy, enjoy your night, and above all, stay safe, because you never know what's lurking in the dark. We'll see you next episode.